Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be talking about Terry McLaurin and did he just get some really good news in terms of his new contract, or is that being overblown? If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video. Let's get right into it. And yeah, so a couple days ago, the Washington Commanders played their first preseason game, I guess now 3 days ago. I am pre-recording this on the 10th, so you guys will see it the next day. But Nikki Javala during the game said, Terry McLaurin is having a very good game. And obviously, he didn't play in the game, but she's alluding to the fact that the Washington receivers were playing very poorly, to say the least. And at this point, some of the younger guys weren't in yet and they didn't make an impact, and later they did. So, guys like Ja'Cory Brooks and Tay Martin at that point weren't in. So, maybe that would have changed her mind, because Ja'Cory Brooks did play pretty well. 5 catches, 60 yards, 16 was his long, had 5 targets, and Tay Martin 3 for 36 on 3 targets, also was able to come down with a 2-point conversion. But some of the bigger name receivers, Luke McCaffrey was out, got hurt. I mean, not hurt, but, played a little bit and then couldn't tough it out, was sick. Jalen Lane didn't show much, but also, he got targeted once. It was a bad throw. Chris Moore, two drops on 2 targets, 0 yards. You had KJ Osborne, 2 catches on 5 targets for 14 yards. Had some drops as well. Braylon Sanders, where I swear I just saw his name, 2 catches, 19 yards. Michael Gallup, 2 for 27. So nothing crazy from these guys. No one had any touchdowns. Or I guess Jacoby Jones had a touchdown, but none of the main guys that you wanted to step up stepped up. So some people during the game were saying, you know what? Or after the game, these receivers didn't do well. Terry McLaurin just got insane leverage. Am I going that far? No. Yes, the receivers did not look good, and they didn't have Noah Brown or Deebo Samuel, who are going to be their top 2 guys besides Terry. But the other guys didn't really produce. I mean, Luke was sick, but didn't really, when he was there, didn't really play or didn't do much. But obviously, again, was sick. And then Jalen Lane didn't show a lot. I'm still high on him though. And then the other guys, KJ Osborne was bad, and Chris Moore was really bad. So some people might be like, you know what? They have a little bit leverage there, or Terry does. I don't know if I would say that. Like, you could say he slightly, increased the leverage there with, how the receivers played and how they don't have really much depth behind him. And Keim said he doesn't think it affects it at all. I would mostly agree with it. I wouldn't say at all, because he was like, yeah, they know that they need him and the receivers behind him aren't the best. Well, maybe you knew that, but you didn't know it to the extent that you did after that game against the Patriots, where especially your veterans, because the other guys, whatever, but the veterans, you're probably going to want to keep another veteran on the roster in case Terry, Deebo, or Noah Brown get hurt. And Noah Brown's been dealing with an injury for a while now. Who knows if he's going to be playing? So, and if he does, if he gets hurt again. So you need to have some depth there, but also a veteran. And the guys that you wanted to maybe step up, KJ Osborne did not. Chris Moore absolutely did not, and has been dropping passes in camp. Michael Gallup was okay, but 2 catches for 27 yards, but on 6 targets. I can't remember exactly what those targets were, if it was really bad, if it wasn't, but not like amazing, like not like, all right, we need to keep this guy. So you could say, okay, maybe this helps Terry McLaurin out. Maybe, he has a little bit more leverage. Maybe the team gets a little bit more, initiative. They're more incentivized to get the deal done earlier, and they just, try to get the deal done. Again, I think it doesn't have really much effect if, let's say, next week, I forgot is it the Bengals? I believe it's the Bengals who they play, and then the Ravens. But let's say next week, they come in and play the Bengals, and it does not look good. Yeah, next Monday against the Bengals. It doesn't look good. Maybe Noah Brown's still not on the field. And like I said, the receivers just don't really contribute much. Then at that point, you might be like, all right, we are screwed this year if we don't have Terry. And obviously, Terry also has, or the team has leverage because they can be like, you know what? If you don't play, you're not getting paid. I don't know if there's a loophole with Terry's ankle injury, if he can go ahead and, act like he has the ankle injury and not miss game checks. Not sure exactly how that works. I think it would be hard for him to, pull that off, but it's definitely a possibility. And, his leverage is, all right, if you don't have me, you're not going to the Super Bowl. And I am, people want to say what they want to say about Terry, if he's good or not, if he's a number one, if he's a top 10 guy, whatever. We don't even need to discuss that. But I think we all agree the Commanders are better when he's on the field versus when he's not. And if he's not on the field, I do not believe they can win a Super Bowl. I would, be very, very surprised if they did. The only reason I'm saying that there's still a possibility is because we have Jaden Daniels. We got number 5 back there who can really make it work with anyone. But even Jaden, at the end of the day, he can't work magic all the time. So having Terry back there would, definitely help him out, or having Terry out there with Debo, with Noah Brown, that's a good receiving core. And then you're fine with, Luke, Jalen, and Ja'Cory being your wide receivers 4 through 6. But I don't know if I feel good about, Noah Brown as my wide receiver 1, because, Debo's he's not really an outside guy, so he would be playing the slot. So Debo would be your 2, and then your other outside guy would be, Luke McCaffrey. I'm not feeling great about that. Maybe some of you guys are. For me personally, I'm not feeling good about that. So that in that case, maybe Terry has some leverage, and that can help him out a little bit. But I still think, the team definitely has more leverage because they can, not many guys hold out a full season, and you only get so many seasons. Some guys like Tom Brady got like 3 seasons, but even then, like one season, that's like 5%. Even if you play 20 seasons, one season is still 5% of your PT. So you're still missing a lot. And if your guy like Terry, came in at 23, is probably going to play 10, 12, 14 years, that's 1 out of 10, 1 out of 14, and that's a much higher percentage of your whole career that you're missing out on all these accolades, getting your total yards up, getting your Pro Bowls, all pros up, and more importantly, helping your team winning a Super Bowl. And obviously the other thing is the money. He's probably missing out on a lot of money if he doesn't play this year. So that's the leverage the team holds, where they're going to call his bluff on missing a whole season. I would be very surprised, even if I think Terry, this hasn't been really all Terry in terms of, all these moves that they've been making, in terms of Terry and his agent. I think it's mostly been his agent whispering in his ear, and Terry's like, all right, I'll do it. But when it comes down to playing, maybe his agent probably will be like, you should play. But if his agent says no, or you shouldn't play, I would be surprised if Terry listens to that. I think at that point, Terry will be like, all right, that's enough. I just need to, end this. Let's play, and we'll work on a contract after the season. I don't know if that point will the sides just be, the relationship be, damaged, maybe, and maybe they can't get anything done. I don't know, but just wanted to describe both sides and the leverage. I would say if we're going a percentage, game, maybe Terry's side gained a percentage or 2 from this past game. And, I think also including Noah Brown still not, fully healthy factors into it a little bit, but I do believe the team still holds most of the leverage there, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, just wanted to talk about the situation a little bit more. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hit that like button, all that good stuff. Peace.